Amundi raised its dividend on the strength of second-half client inflows. The asset manager saw a record net inflow of €76.8 billion in the fourth quarter, boosted by a new pension mandate in India. Joining us now, Yves Perrier, CEO of Amundi, here with me on set in London. Yves, welcome to the programme. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm sure you're not preoccupied by short-term moves in share prices. Your stock has gone up by 55% in the last 12 months, but yet it's being sold off today by just 2%. But some reason to sell. Why do you think the market is not buying your stock on an increased dividend, better than expected flows?
No, I think that the market has appreciated a lot our stock, and as you mentioned, we had registered very strong increase since the creation of Amundi. The market cap has doubled since the beginning of the year. The increase was 12%, and our results are excellent, but I think that there is some, let's say, profit taking from the market. Probably, I don't know.
Probably, after such a big move higher. Let me ask you about what's going on in China then, because you recently received regulatory clearance to become the first foreign company to control a wealth management venture. Tell us what you expect from there, given the headwinds currently facing the Chinese economy and the human tragedy that is coronavirus.
Okay. To begin, the story of Amundi, it has been a story of strong development in two areas. One was Europe, to make of the Eurozone a domestic market, and the second is Asia. And in Asia now we manage nearly 300 billion euros of assets. In China we have presently a joint venture with ABC, which is the third bank of the country. And what we are doing with Bank of China is to create a new joint venture which will support the private bank of BOC, and in this joint venture we will have a majority stake of 55%, and that's the first time a foreign player is authorized to have this. That means that we will have a tremendous position in China with these two joint venture with two big banks, and you know that the potential in China of development of the financial market is huge. Of course, there is a question of coronavirus today, but I hope that these difficulties won't last a long time.
Okay, Matt.
Yves, what do you think about the effect of the negative rate environment that we're in today? We just had the chief economist at Allianz talking about the fact that the German government has been a huge beneficiary. French banks have been hurt the most, talking about the fact that maybe savers, when they're confronted with negative interest rates, actually try and save more to make up for the lost income. I mean, there seem to be so many negative and unwanted side effects. How does Amundi deal with it?
Well, we have to come back to this reason of low interest rate, accommodative policy for all central banks. It has been the consequence of the crisis, firstly of the crisis of 2008 and then the crisis of the Eurozone. And this policy was done in order to permit to make sustainable the level of debt, which has continued to grow in the recent period, and also to try to boost the economy. I think, and this policy was probably the worst policy, but except all the others in the present situation. But now, probably we have been too far. And the question to wait, which is the collateral impact of this on the financial market, of the stability, of the creation of some sort of bubbles, is on the table. And personally, I think that we should find a way to get out of this policy, which make now collateral effect which are problematic.
Yves, let me pick up with you on another subject then, and that is the way that you've been moving towards passive assets. You've been growing that part of the business at least. Is there an issue in trying to meet the demands of investors around ESG, around environmental issues? Is there an issue with trying to do that as a passive fund?
To summarize and have a short time, in 2010, when we created Amundi, in the 4 pillars of Amundi, we have put ESG as one of the 4 pillars. And it was not a question of marketing, it was a question of conviction. We have been a pioneer on this. And we are developing a strategy along 2 axes. One is to implement in all our funds an ESG process in addition to the traditional financial process. We have put the objective to be 100% ESG in 2021 on this area. And the second is to raise money dedicated either to the financing of renewables, energy transition, or in some specific thema like social cases.
Yes.
And on passive, we have taken the objective to double by implementing some index which are taking into account, these criteria of ESG. So we are very committed in this direction.